But she gets it
she
in such
gets
a
it.
different way,
She
right?
does.
Yeah.
And I think that there's a vulnerability that we share that like most people aren't vulnerable, you know?
It's so true.
Right.
And we just know that we can do that. But
Yeah.
And when you're
I love you, Rachel.
vulnerable with someone, I think it gives them then permission to then be vulnerable with you, right? Like it takes that dynamic.
Yep.
If you're closed
1,000%.
off, yeah, it's not going to happen.
Right.
I think
Absolutely.
at some of these conferences too, like you go, Rachel and I were just talking about this. You go and like you're in a safe place where everybody there knows about FTD or dementia
Yep.
or whatever the topic of it is. And so sometimes people just walk straight up and they're like, "Yep." And then my mom was dying, and they think like, I mean, it's fine, we handle it, but it's like there is such a space of vulnerability that I think it can be a little bit draining, and you just need to recognize like that's okay.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll talk about death all day long. I love it.
for
I love
me, it's a little
I know.
different, you
That's where
know?
I agree.
that's where we
Yin and
differ.
yang.
Yep. I could talk about death, dying, and grief for hours per day. And Maria's like, we've talked about death for 6 hours today. Could you?
We're good.
Okay, yeah, we're not gonna do grief. Okay. And she'll tell me, I don't want to talk about that right now. And I could tell her the same thing. I don't want to talk about analytics. I want to create
Let's
something.
talk about our gut. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a really good balance, I think, bottom line. And not everybody has that. But it's also like you have to work for it. It's not just, I have to communicate with her. I don't like this. I like that. I don't like it when I feel this when. And I think that's a solid basis for a friendship.
Right.
You've been
Oh
doing
my
this 4 years.
gosh, yeah.
This hasn't been like
4 years.
overnight. You're like, we're perfect.
Right.
Like
Right.
this has taken a lot of effort on both ends, and
Yeah.
meeting you where you're at and having so much, as you said, going through the hardest time of your life on top of it and having to navigate that. So
Well, and I think
Just
it's
beautifully
teaching
done.
us, like hearing you guys talk and
Yeah.
share your dynamic and how you communicate and what you've learned and how you've created this like healthy foundation. I think it's going to teach people that listen, right? Of how do we do friendships in adult and how do we do that and come together when we're going through some really hard things, for sure. Yeah.
I hope so. I hope that's what people get. They're not like these two wackos who just who are these guys?
people?
Yeah.
No,
So good.
I mean, everyone needs friends like you in their corner, and it's so awesome that you invite them into your lives and then also bring all this community with you. It's just incredible.